So today I'm going to be talking to y'all about CTE. Have y'all ever heard of CTE before? Seen it in the news or anything?
I have.
Yeah? Okay, awesome. Well, today I'm going to be talking to y'all about what CTE is, its role in today's society, and how it's received or been received by experts. So what is CTE? CTE is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. It's a degenerative brain disease. It's often caused by repetitive hits to the head. What happens is a protein in the brain called tau ends up creating clumps in the brain, which eventually causes you to lose brain cells, and it slowly makes your brain deteriorates your brain. So it's not necessarily caused by concussions solely. Oftentimes, of course, they do kind of go hand in hand since they are both have to deal with the brain. But oftentimes they do find situations where people can develop CTE without ever getting a concussion. So it was originally discovered in 1928. That's when it was originally brought into the medical field and first talked about. At the time, it was talked about with boxers specifically. And so what causes CTE? Like I said before, it's often found in contact sports, repetitive hits to the head, things of that nature, boxing, football. At early age also plays a role for children. At an early age they play contact sports, it makes it a lot harder when they're older for their brain health and things of that nature, and it often results in it degenerating faster. So and the problem with CTE currently is it can usually only be diagnosed after death, which can be an issue when trying to figure out what are good therapies and things of that nature. So CTE in today's society. There's a New York Times article that came out that they'd done a study on 111 former NFL players after they had passed away. They did a study on their brains, and of those 111 players, 110 of them were found with traces of CTE in their brain. They also talk about this in the 2015 film Concussion, starring Will Smith. It followed a man by the name of Bennett Omalu. He's a forensic pathologist, and he discovered a former player had CTE after he had passed away and tried to come forward about it. So former athletes, of course, often have trouble with this, things of that nature. So what do the experts have to say on it? It's still not fully understood for most of them. In most cases, it's a lot of it is still in early stages, but in turn, more research is still needed in the field. Therapies do exist, but as I said before, oftentimes it's hard to diagnose before death, so it's kind of tough at times for them to get good therapies. According to NFL concussionsettlement.com, there is $463 million so far that has been awarded to former NFL players, currently pending litigation, things of that nature. So what did we learn? CTE is a degenerative disease. According to the Concussion Legacy Legacy Foundation, it's a degenerative disease, and like I talked about before, due to sports, things of that nature, or so athletes are most likely to develop the disease after being hit in the head, things of that kind of stuff. Over time, it just eventually makes it worse and worse. So of course, it was the subject of the 2015 film Concussion. And then studies are still inconclusive, like I talked about. And then Bennett Omalu, this is him on the left. He's a pioneer in the field and somebody that really has done a lot and has talked about CTE and helped try to figure out ways to improve the situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Good job.
All right, how long was it?